Suka, Brown Boots, Wand, Treads, straight into the Aghanim Shard, Diffusal, Manta is what he looks to do. So they are lacking a little bit of pushing potential, so the Meteor Hammer makes complete sense this time around.
Now, why do we feel like OG look to try and round their draft out with a support Magnus here? What do we feel like this is able to kind of provide them as a whole?
Maybe they're just thinking kind of like the combination where you see, you know, Tiny Magnus toss back into Skewer. You could do a similar sort of thing, maybe, like cookie the Magnus forward, get the stun, Skewer back underneath a tower, and look to get a few kills in that way.
I guess also they have really nice ways to set up besides the cookie with the shard on TOPSON, maybe the boundless strike like towards the mid game if no one can set up. Yeah, exactly. So they've got great ways to make it easier for Seb to be able to find that opening, but even for KZ team as well, like they also have multiple heroes that are going to be able to start these fights. Of course, the Tiny being that main source, the Marcy as the game goes on. Once you're able to find those items, you'll definitely be able to get that initial jump in as well. So it's a kind of, I know it's very difficult in a game like this because you see all the players on OG, and then you look at the other team and you're not as familiar with some of those players. But if we take a look at the heroes, the 5-on-5, how do we feel like KZ and OG are going to go at it here in this game one?
See, if I'm just going to refer back to the first game that they actually played in the open qualifiers, these two teams, before KZ team eventually did qualify. I actually really liked KZ team's draft, and then OG just dumpstered them in about 29 minutes. So that kind of answers your question, right? You just got to go with the experience and the... I guess experience is probably the best word to use for it, right? That OG possessed, not just in one role, but basically across all five. Kittrack is probably like the least of the lot as in terms of competing at the highest level, but he's certainly been around. He's, you know, frequently pubbing with these guys in party queues and of course in his coaching roles as well.
Which is the important thing. He has that knowledge, but it just comes down to, I guess, also like how much has he been practicing as well? Because we've seen at the moment, it seems like it's still in regards to supports more than ever now. Your mechanics, you can't be lacking behind. We see kind of the individual plays come out from a lot of teams, even 5s and 4s, just making sure you're able to clean up any little mess. And so we have no doubt about Kittrack's capability in regards to his knowledge of the game, but I'm just very intrigued on, you know, how much he's actually playing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I kind of felt like that could have been a little bit of a dig at me when you're talking about, you know, support players needing to be as good as ever to be able to have good times. But anyway, no, I'm completely in agreement. You know, across all roles, you can't really have passengers anymore in Dota. You know, every role is very important. It might not be the same sort of things that they need to prioritize for, but you know, so many, like the tactical feed is still a real thing that needs to happen because more and more space is just harder and harder to come by.
That it is indeed, and we'll see. Well, now that we're into the game, we get to even see that for at least KZ, the mid laner GTI. I mean, this man's level 30 Invoke, Denok. I mean, you have a level 30 hero as well. You know how many games that takes to get a 30. I think my highest is like level 13 or something like that. And I think I play Mars enough, so I don't know how these guys have got level 30 heroes.
Amateur, that's what you are.
Amateur, okay, okay.
I mean, I've got Platinum and Master tier heroes as well. That's the,
have you got a Grandmaster?
Yeah, Wyvern's Grandmaster, but like I've got about 5 others that are at least 20.
A lot of games. That's a lot of games as we do get underway here.
I'm just thinking as well, with this Magnus, obviously all the reasons that we mentioned with the skewer combinations, with the dart, with the boundless, with the cookie into the pushback, glimpse pushback, it also just gives you a way to be able to scale, right? You might not necessarily need to go a Battle Fury on the Monkey King if you could just look to rely on the Empower instead for that bit of a damage boost. Same sort of thing with the Ricky. You're going to walk underneath a ward here on the Dire Ancient Camp, so it's like they'll be able to dodge this one out. It's a pretty scary level 1 lineup that they've got on Old G's side.
And while they were walking underneath kind of Dire's triangle, we saw Seb as well was trying to scout out if there was any wards placed down at the mid lane. He did get that tower aggro, so he's already got 1 sentry. We'll see if he's going to stick around after the bounty rune. Just wrap around from the Rubik. Gonna look to block the Ancients as well, but I believe TOPSON was in a position to be able to scout that out as well. So very nicely done. Bounty Rune department. It's going to be a 2 for 2, I believe. No one's in a bit of a peculiar position thanks to the toss from Sneaky, but KicTrack's able to step on over and offer some assistance. So with that toss away, it does actually enable Sneaky to be able to get the bounty. So we'll be 3 over towards Dial.
Fitting name for that sort of play.
He's got Boots as well to start here for the Tiny. What do we kind of make of this? What is he trying to get out of the lane with the first item Boots?
I mean, you're not going to be trading with a Monkey King, that's for sure, right? So you're not going to want to be part of the lane, pretty much. The Boots basically ensures that you're going to be able to get as many pulls as possible. Whenever you've got... I mean, the Timbersaw against the Monkey King, it's like a little bit doable, but you still don't really want to be in the lane, right? So it's all just about avoiding the lane as much as possible. Yes, the Disruptor has the glimpse, and KitTrack's going to do exactly that to stop him from pulling, but it's not like you have a stun as the Disruptor, right? So he's at least going to be able to block this first camp. And I think their main goal on this bottom side of the map is probably going to be to, like, try and bait out the glimpse, because level 1, it still has quite a long cooldown, 24 seconds. So if they're able to get that used, avoid dying and giving up that first blood, then they can look to go for another pull. I'm not sure if KitTrack, this is the position that he should be in. I think he needs to really continue to just watch over this Tiny. Also, if you see the top lane, they've already been able to pull this lane all the way back, realizing that, of course, Marcy, very, very scary to go up in the lane against.
Do we feel like that might change once OG is able to pick up their level 2s? Because they also have a decent amount of nuke potential now with Rezo having the Scatter Blast and the Cookie, and then if you can combine that with the Shockwave.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe level 3, just with the Scatter Blast having such a big increase in damage each time that you bump it up. Well, they might be able to go on to TM here.
Cookie on forward, Seb. Should be able to get the follow-up damage. Fatebolt's going to help mitigate a little bit of this. As the Fairy Fighter utilizes as well, Milky does get a nice toss back under the tower, so Resolution's going to take a little bit of unnecessary damage there. Then, look, side lanes, they're all cool and all, but honestly, I couldn't give a shit about them this game. We have a mid Ricky. That's where my eyes are going to be. TOPSON pulling it out. Like you said, more than likely, it's going to be that Meteor Hammer build, and he already has that Ring of Health picked up, and his opponent, the Invoker, like you mentioned as well, before we go underway, kind of the Coswex Meteor build, and G2I is going to be going for that as well.
It makes it a little bit more difficult to be able to land the EMP onto him because you're always going to have that Tricks of the Trade to be able to dodge it out. You should still be able to get a lot of these tornadoes off pretty consistently. And so TOPSON might have a little bit of a difficult time, at least until he picks up that Void Stone, because obviously you need the mana to be able to continuously spam that stuff out. And he's already down to basically 2 spells, and then he's completely dry.
And I really wonder how much
side
the Invoke... Some trouble here. Rezo actually doesn't get the stun with this Cookie, so maybe that's going to cost him the kill onto Milky. They are completely out of resources, though, so this Marcy, he's got 2 points in sidekick, so at least we'll be able to play around with that little bit of sustain, but might be in some trouble if he goes on top of the wave.
Can I just say I love that name, by the way, Milky.
Milky?
Yeah, it's a nice one.
With the double L, though. Do we like the double L?
Oh, no.
Yeah,
unless his last name is like Mills or something, then I can vibe with that.
All right. We're not vibing with the double L. Sorry, Milky. Do we have to pronounce it differently, or is it Milky? Hey, we got no mms to be able to. Yeah, thank God, do this. Thank God. Seb, nicely done. Skew up back under the tower, and that's going to be our first blood. Unfortunately, it's picked up from some creep, so no individual from OG is going to be able to get all that bounty.
Ah, it's fine. Spread the love.
Spread the love. Get the gold.
The lane going fairly well for the Invoker, though, as you would expect, with all the reasons that I mentioned, like you've this Quas build, so you've already got great sustain, Ring of Health adds on top of that. There's basically no way for the Ricky to be able to harass. So TOPSON, his priority is just, look, get as many last hits as possible. He's not going to be getting any kills against the Invoker.
Mr. Luck.
Downsides there with Sneaky obviously falling down. There's only so much that you can look to contest into this. You know, 0 armor on the Tiny against a Monkey King that's pretty much free farming on this bottom side, although has to be a little careful, though, one.
Hey, Disruptor. You're with me
We even got an... Oh! Bottom lane, yeah, no one falling incredibly low, but look at some health back thanks to the Jingu. Meanwhile, for the top side, they were able to kill off the Rubik as well. So Resolution here with the Snapfire is able to find his second kill. I should say second kill involvement of the game. Is going to be working on the Arcane Boots as well. So that's going to make it even easier for them to continue with this spam against the Marcy lane.
Will indeed. I've had a check of one of my resources. He doesn't have the word mill in his name, so that extra L on the milky.
Who's your resource? What?
I've got my my ways, you know.
You don't kind of share the sources.
No.
You keep him hidden. Okay, I understand.
Ooh, get track. Might be in a little bit of trouble on this bottom side though.
Luck needs to play with the trees, and it's going to move over to the right side to get that bonus damage out of the Whirling Death. Very nicely done from themselves. I was not honestly expecting this lane for them to be able to find any kills. I'll hold that thought as top. Zep should be able to find the shockwave slow, and once again, the Rubik's going to be in some trouble. Did just TP back up to this lane, so 40 seconds without a TP is going to have to make the walk a shame.
The real question is, what is our man Milky going to do with all of that time where he's going to be up here on his own? I mean, he's got a nice juicy wave and he's already level 5, so doing fairly well for himself. Looks like he might be going into the Battle Fury build for himself with that Ring of Health already purchased up. So he wants to look to try and outscale this old G lineup if he can.
Oh my god. And it starts! And it starts. Welcome to the Meteor Hammer show.
He's level 6 as well, so you know, you're going to need some Sentry Ward coverage in this mid lane too. Wondering if there's going to be any sort of rotations towards this mid lane. We've got Kitrak starting to make his movement towards here, so maybe they could look to try and get a kill, but I'm a little bit hesitant about it. TOPSON.
They get the... Okay. Kitrak. Should be an opportunity for TOPSON to be able to get that Blink Strike away. Oh, TOPSON, come on now.
I mean, he's going to be very happy if you've got Sneaky making this rotation where, you know, Monkey King, he wants to be in a 1v1 matchup against the Timper Saw. It means that Timper can't lane, and you've got this basically going on where the Monkey King's going to continue to free farm.
Oh, top lane, Milky. Instant use of the telekinesis. Beautifully done from the Rubik's. Going to be able to stop that Mortimer Kisses, but Kitrak from mid to top, he goes, gets the glimpse. They'll find the second kill afterwards. His Resolution. Even though he doesn't get great usage out of the ultimate, it will not matter as he's still rewarded with a double kill.
All right, I want to know from you, Aries, who's going to win the Meteor Hammer battle in this mid lane? TOPSON as well as GTI both have it. Might be in a little bit of strife right now, although...
Did he get the tricks? Oh, did he get the tricks off? TOPSON's in some trouble and will end up going down. Great rotation coming out. The double supports from KZ and...
No hammer for you.
Oh my god.
I mean, he's just going to do it again pretty shortly. It costs 100 mana. It's not the easiest, but you land an EMP and you're all good.
So I guess they should be able to continue to leave the Timber alone now that he has level 6. He's gone this Vanguard build as well. He might have some mana issues. I wonder if this is Soul Ring coming out, and yeah, looks like it is. So I think for Mr. Luck, probably his lane is just going to look to try and shove with Chakram, get as much as he can, and the rest of the team, their emphasis, their attention needs to be put around your Invoker, because you're really worried if Ricky just runs over this lane. If you kill the Invoker multiple times, then his scaling potential is heavily limited.
Honestly, even if you kill the Marcy pre-BKB as well, right, or pre-Battle Fury, it just means that they're not going to have that hero that's going to be able to invade and stop you before you get into this, like, you know, blink RP on the Magnus. If you think you're going to have a really good start, but Mag still has the ability to skewer you back into your base at these tier 4s, and this is like worst case scenario for old G as well, right? It's just going to be difficult all around for them to take these team fights.
You did just kind of ask a question before, and well, so maybe hold that thought. It does look like they're trying to set up. We're just bringing the numbers to maybe get rid of the sentries, but there's the glimpse back, and even Resolution's going to TP him with the Mortimer Kisses utilized to try and bring down the Invoker. They're going to make him work for it in the end. Resolution will be able to claim that one, and he's up to a dominating streak now pre-10 minutes.
Really wanting to get value out of this. I mean, like you said, it's all about shutting down the Invoker. If you can't get into the Midas, you really start to fall behind pretty damn quickly. Like, this is, again, a lane where they're totally fine with leaving no one solo on the bottom, which enables the rest of the team to be able to make these rotations.
Now Sneaky might be in some trouble as well. A bit sneaky with the sidestep. Gonna be able to dodge the stun, but he will still go down. And now Milky's gonna look to rotate. Seb will attempt the TP, but unfortunately the stance isn't big enough to be able to cover his escape. So in the end, it's a 1-for-1, but look at all the rotations out of KZ.
They've really got to prioritize keeping a sentry here because TOPSON is just going to go for this meteor hammer into the tower every single time. It's really only got like one meteor hammer left though before it does go down. So let's see if they look to try and make a backstab happen. It seemed like
they still don't have a sentry on the Rubik.
Yeah. Got a bunch in the stash just waiting to come out as well as his terminology. But
there's a meteor. Even no one's going to make his first rotation as well. To mid lane he goes once again for the Invoker. The primary target from OG. Another death onto the mid laner.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Again, this is something where Seb, he's totally fine. It's just sitting up on this top lane on his own, right? He's playing a Magnus, not a traditional support, but someone that can certainly scale if you just give him the space to. So I like the fact that Rezo, he's going into the Greaves build that we were expecting, right?
Because look at this in the jungle.
Oh.
Milky, what a beautiful smoke coming out from OG. No one and Kintrack in combination together. You saw no one rotate mid to try and help out with the kill, then instantly they looked to smoke as well because that was when the tome got delivered to the disruptor. So they had the static storm available to look to invade into the jungle, and they're not even done just yet. Rezo and TOPSON, they're even looking to try and move over towards a triangle and maybe even take some stacks away.
Yoink. Why not? They're going to leave a few there, just barely on any HP. TOPSON's going to get greedy and look to go for that one, but his main priority, it seems, is just be a tower-taking bot. Because again, no one on the team really does a fantastic job of it. No one in Kitrak, with that rotation up towards the top side, they're going to be able to do some damage, considering they've got the siege creep there. And they're just splitting up the map amazingly well on OG right now. They still don't have these sentries, man. Finally putting one down.
Finally, one's going to get drops, but TOPSON, okay for the moment. Seb's going to try and find an opening for the RP, but a beautiful
Unleash as well
from Dire. But like you said, Unleash is going to be committed. Mortimer kisses off to the left side, so the damage going to come through inside the area control. The Marcy will go down. Now this is given plenty of time for the rest of the OG members to look to get involved. As Resolution will still go down off to the left side. But they're just continuing to kite Mr. Luck. All his attention put onto Kitrak. But that means that the rest of OG can just clean up some of the members on KZ. And Kitrak, he doesn't even go down. The disruptor limps out to the right side. And OG, they'll turn their attention back over towards the Timbersaw. Once no one is able to find the Jinku stacks, that'll be enough for them to secure the kill onto the difficult Timber.
I mean, it's already hard enough that you're going up against OG, but when the Timbersaw was trying to make that retreat there, he actually got hit by the Hill Troll Berserker that applied the break to him, so he wasn't even getting the additional reactive armor stacks.
And with all this going on as well, you take a look at KZ team, their two supports are incredibly greedy, Deno. This is a Rubik 5 and a Tiny 4, but they're probably going to have some issues, honestly, with getting that first real big item from those heroes. And because you have to buy so many sentries and so many dusts against the Ricky. So this could be a really late Blink Dagger timing from Sneaky.
Yeah, and it really doesn't help that they dropped 2 sentry wards at that bottom fight at the exact same time. So, you know, you're already having a lot of difficulty. I guess OG did it as well, so it's not too bad just below that. But yeah, it's certainly not setting them up for the greatest start. Just have to look at the state of the position ones as well, right? No one is almost level 11, and Milky, despite a pretty decent start, he made a good rotation towards the mid to be able to pick up that kill. He's not even level 8 yet, and he really needs to be prioritizing his Battle Fury if they're going to have any kind of scaling into this later stage.
Well, gee, we saw previously a successful team fight down to bottom, so they're going to look to try and make the rotation once again to take the engagement. Sneaky's going to be the sacrifice. They will get a range shot for the glimpse back onto Mr. Luck, is just on the outskirts. Seb's able to find the RP to hold him inside the Wukong's command. It'll take multiple ultimates to try and bring Mr. Luck down, but in the end, they'll secure the kill. Now, top lane, though, Resolution
no one's
might
coming.
Be some trouble, but the mechanism going to be able to repair some of the damage. It looks like TOPSON might be a little bit too late to keep him alive, but the rebuttal, it should come out. Milky Phase Boots trying to step into the tree line, but TOPSON,
oh, not the hammer. Oh, no.
Of course, will not let him escape. And oh, it is a devastating way to go out when it's the hammer that takes the kill.
Yeah.
Radiant's middle
No one's
tower
going to be so
is under
mid, but
attack.
I don't think they care all that much on Old G. I mean, they're going to be playing this game on the KZ side of the map for the vast majority of it. So mid tower, no mid tower, doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And I mean, TOPSON's had such a fantastic game already, topping the net worth charts, and he's not even going to save for that shard.
Oh no, Invoker get the last hit. Alright, hey, silver linings, he got the power, but a beautiful ward placement, a really interesting ward placement from OG. Kinda, sometimes we see the ward on the high ground just over the medium camp, or I should say the hard camp, but this time it's even further down. That was able to scout at the Invoker, trying to sneak on by and get that last little tower hit with the Meteor Hammer.
Oh, Milky actually ends up cutting no one down from the tree, but I'm not sure if you should feel all that confident fighting this one. Maybe with a Rubik coming through, though. This would be a big kill. All right. Getting a little confident. The Observer Ward freshly placed down by, what are we saying there? Yeget? What are we saying for the Rubik?
Are scanning.
Ye get?
Rubik.
Ye get out of
Is
there.
what we're saying. Ye get out of here. I mean, he's go. Yeah, still Scatter Blast was going to be nice. 4 points. Plenty of damage to be able to pump out inside the team fight. This time they're going to turn on to TOPSON, and
Go.
TOPSON will get blown up. A nice streak to be claimed from Eget. Now he's on the kick track as well. The TP out. Any stuns? No one's home.
Mm-hmm. So it turns out
Space, though.
Sentry Ward against Ricky, pretty good.
Very good, very
Able
good.
to catch him out when he's trying to go for these clever little plays. I mean, basically, what they need to be thinking about is, all right, if I was, like, what don't we want them to be doing right now? And that's exactly what TOPSON is. Like, he would probably be the most annoying player to play against. I'm pretty sure plenty of pros have said that. Just got to get in the mind of a troll.
Yeah, who doesn't like versing an individual that starts making rotations at 4 minutes with a Primal Beast?
It was 3, man. It was 3
Oh,
minutes.
it's 3? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
The first bounty rune.
Fun times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at least those kills are able, they stabilize the game. You missed a lock on this Timbersaw is having a really good time against the lane matchup that, you know, can be a bit tricky sometimes. He's 2-2 at the moment, top of the net worth in regards to the cores on KZ. Has he got an item coming out? What's he got coming out? He's got a full Kaya completed, so his damage inside the fights, it's going to be a lot before these BKBs are completed here from the side of OG.
Mm-hmm. And it really does feel like it's that race, right? Like, who is going to make the most out of that timing? You know, right now it does feel like the point where KZ needs to make something happen because, yeah, you've got the Empower to be able to... actually,
nice
Seb.
telekinesis.
He's pretty good, Yeget, so far. Like, yes, they've got the Magnus to enable them a little bit more into the late game, but when you think about it, like, you're probably a bit more scared about a Marcy when it gets to, like, the super late. Compared with a Ricky carry or a Ricky core, Snapfire core, that sort of thing. Unless it gets incredibly late for the Snapfire, right? We've seen what they can do, level 20 plus.
Do we think so? Because I think, do you feel like they can just kite the Marcy this game with RP? I think any BKB controlling abilities renders his late game, well, I don't want to say useless, but not fun to play.
I just think Old G are going to be a little bit worried if it gets like ultra late.
Who they got? Seb? He's able to find the opening once again. 3 ultimates committed. RP, Static Storm, Mortimer Kisses. Why not check the whole kitchen at the Invoker? Of course, it does help them secure Roshan as well. So that's going to be ages picked up here for no one.
I mean, you just have to look at no one's build, right? He's not going into any kind of farming item. It's all about just scaling and immediately being able to take these towers. They want this game to end as early as possible.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
I don't
attack.
think they're going to wait for these ultimates to come off cooldown as well. The 6,000 net worth lead, more than enough for them to be able to start brute forcing down these objectives. And they will even scan as well, maybe to try and scout out if KZ are trying to set up
look
for
at
the
TOPSON.
defense.
TOPSON's just watching the Timbersaw and he's going to dart him as he tries to TP back. So you're going to have an overwhelmingly strong team fight now on Old G. They got the glyph, I suppose, to be able to protect this tower for the next little bit. But again, it's just about being annoying.
Is he going to kill him? Well, importantly, like you said, he's just being annoying. Fusel
Dart,
up in 5.
wait for the boys.
Attack.
Importantly, it's the dart that's going to be required as Resolution should be able to close the disc. Oh. It's like, oh, that was a bit too far over, but nonetheless, they get the
Rezo
kill.
just wanted the kill for himself, man. He's like, how do I disable this Ricky for long enough?
It was just troll. It's just getting out of range. Man, this observer down bottom. Look at that. Just scouting out the smoke. 3-man rotation. I think 2 TPs used as well between the Rubik and the Tiny. So OG have more than enough information that this top tower is going to be for free. Gee, he's got to get out on the Invoker. Again, that observer down bottom just enables them to skew up without it carrying the world. No dragging back. Detection's there. Nice kill for them to find.
And they use the glyph as well. So this tower should be going down pretty free. We've got TOPSON again, who made the rotation. He was 1 second without having his TP cancelled up towards the top side. That 3-man smoke, of course, like you mentioned, with the assistance of the Observer Ward, enabled him to get out just in time.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Aggressive glyph as well. OG looking to pounce, skew it back. Not going to be able to get the chain control, but well, maybe that's where the RP and Static Storm's able to come into play. Without the Timber for 40 seconds, be able to reuse that glyph thanks to the tier 2 tower going down, so that will send OG back for a little bit.
All right, so they're close to a few big items here on KZ team, right? You've nearly got the BKB on the Invoker. You're getting close-ish on the Marcy. 4-stuff nearly on the Rubik. Timbersaw, Kaya not too far away, and you've just got the Blink Dagger on the Tiny. So it's just a question of how much can you delay this. I think, honestly, it sucks to say it at 21 minutes, but you got to try and give up this top lane of Rax just to enable a bit more farm. But it seems like they want to fight, and I'm not sure if you want to do that into an Aegis that's still got 2 minutes on it.
Oh, they're looking for the toss back though on Sneaky, but no hesitation from no one. Just drops the BKB, making sure there's no opportunity to toss him deeper inside the base of Dire.
I think that's one of the ones where you just have to cut your losses, right? And then they might end up losing more. This is their last glyph.
It looks like they're going to force a buyback out in the Invoker, but that completely renders his item progression now. There's just no way he's going to be able to keep up. And
he's just going to die again. They
don't know how to stop. That's a dieback out of the Invoker. The position 2 is gone, but the G's are dropped. And OG, an incredibly dominant game 1 performance from them.
Yeah, it was 29.5 minutes when they met during the open qualifiers for one of the games that I thought KZ had a pretty decent draft, and this time around it was a little bit messy for both teams, right? You're not expecting a position 4 Magnus, you're not expecting